Hello, this is Miss McCauley for the third and final part to dividing whole numbers by fractions. I know this seems like a lot, but this will really help set you up to have a successful concept with dividing fractions by whole numbers, dividing fractions by fractions, and finally mixed numbers if you get a solid base right here. That's why we spend so much time doing these models and division problems. Okay, go ahead and finish this video out and then answer the questions in the note check, and you are ready to move on to practice.
Okay. Let's try another one. Now we've got 5 divided by 2/3. So again, let's start by using a model. Pull up your virtual manipulatives. Okay, I'm going to start by writing 5 divided by 2/3. And again, start by modeling the number 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to space these out a little so we've got room. Okay, we're dividing it by 2/3, so we're going to use the third pieces, and then we'll be putting them into groups of 2. Remember, you should have 3 1/3 pieces underneath each one. Okay, and again, now we're going to group them into groups of 2 because our numerator is telling us to put those in groups of 2. Okay, so group of 2, 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 another group of 2. Notice how we do have that 1/3 by itself. We'll talk about that in a moment. But right now, how many whole groups do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, remember that 1/3 piece is 1/2 of a group. See how it's 1/2 of a group here? So we're going to say 7 and 1/2 is our answer. Okay, go ahead and take a picture. Drop that into GoodNotes. Okay, now let's try it using an equation. So again, start by writing 5 divided by 2/3. Step 1 is to take that 5 and write it over 1 since it's a whole number. Okay? Then remember, we're going to multiply our first number times the second number's reciprocal. So 5 over 1 times 3 over 2. Multiply straight across. 5 times 3 is 15 and 1 times 2 is 2. So we've got a quotient of 15/2. But remember, we're going to change it to a mixed number. So to do that, do 15 divided by 2. 2 does not go into 1, but 2 goes into 15 a total of 7 times. 15 minus 14 is 1. And we're going to write that remainder as 7 and 1/2. So you'll notice that we get the same quotient in both of our methods. So we're going to go ahead and write our final quotient up at the top of 7 and 1/2. Alright, let's try another one. Our next one is going to be 4 divided by 3/4. So again, let's pull up our virtual manipulatives. And we're going to write down 4 divided by 3/4. Again, start by modeling that 4, our dividend. Okay, we're going to put them into groups according to the divisor. So we're dividing it by 3/4, so we're going to use our 1/4 pieces, and then we'll be putting them into groups of 3. Make sure you have 4 1/4 pieces underneath each whole number 1. Remember that 4 means you're cutting that whole number up into 4 same-sized pieces. Okay, and again, remember that numerator is telling us to put them into groups of 3. So circle 3 at a time. So we've got a group of 3, a group of 3, a group of 3, a group of 3. All right, and then I'm going to move these 3 together to make another group of 3. Okay, and then you see we've got that 1/4 left over. That 1/4, if you look at a group, is 1/3 of that group, okay? Because there's 3 pieces in each group. We've got one of the pieces. So that 1/4 represents 1/3 of a group, okay? Up so you can see. So we can say that 4 divided by 3/4 is 5 and 1/3, because we've got 5 whole groups and 1/3 of another group. Go ahead and take a picture of that. Drop that into GoodNotes. And then let's try it using an equation. So again, we start with 4 divided by 3/4. We're going to take that whole number 4 and write it over 1. So we've got 4 divided by 3/4. Okay. We're going to take our first number and multiply it times the reciprocal of our second number. So 3/4 becomes 4/3. Go ahead and multiply straight across. 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times 3 is 3. So we get a quotient of 16/3. But we're going to change that to a mixed number. So remember, do 16 divided by 3. 3 does not go into 1. 3 goes into 16, a total of 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. 16 minus 15 is 1. So we get 5 and 1/3 as our final quotient, which is the same as what we got in our modeling step. So we can write our final quotient up here as 5 and 1/3. All right, let's try another one. Okay, a couple word problems. At summer camp, the duration of a field hockey game is 3/4 of an hour. The camp counselors have set aside 6 hours for field hockey games. How many games can be played? So we need to do 6 divided by 3/4. Okay, well, let's start with our model. So pull up your virtual manipulatives. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and write 6 divided by 3/4. Okay. We're going to start by modeling our 6. Go over here. Okay. And we're dividing it by 3/4, so we're going to use our 1/4 pieces. Remember that you should have 4 pieces for each whole number 1. That 4 means you need 4 pieces to make a whole. Okay, and now our numerator is telling us to put them into groups of 3. Groups of 3. So group of 3, group of 3, group of 3. Oop. This is another group of 3. Okay. So let's see, we have nothing left over, so let's count our total number of groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can say that 6 divided by 3/4 equals 8, or in other words, they have time to play 8 field hockey games. Go ahead and take a picture. Let's drop it into GoodNotes. Okay, and now let's try the same problem using an equation. So we're going to again start with 6 divided by 3/4. Okay, start by writing that 6 as 6 over 1. Then we're going to rewrite this as a multiplication problem, multiplying the first number times the second number's reciprocal. 3/4 becomes 4/3. Okay, now notice with this one, we have some things we can cancel. That's right, we can divide 6 and 3 by 3, so you can still use the canceling you learned from multiplying fractions here. 6 divided by 3 equals 2, and 3 divided by 3 equals 1. Now multiply your new numbers together. 2 times 4 is 8, 1 times 1 is 1. So we get a quotient of 8 over 1, but we know we're going to simplify that to 8. Okay, because 8 divided by 1 is 8. Notice we get the same final answer both times, so we can say 8 games can be played. Alright, got just one more to try. A neighborhood development that is 4 acres is to be divided into 2/3 acre lots. How many lots can be created? So we need to do 4 divided by 2/3. Okay, so let's try this first by using a model. Pull up your virtual manipulatives. And I'm going to go ahead and write 4 divided by 2/3. Again, start by modeling the number 4. And then we're going to cut this up into 1/3 pieces. Remember, you should have 3 pieces for each 1/3. There. Okay. Our numerator is telling us to put these into groups of 2. Let's go ahead and do that. Count the total number of groups you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can say that 4 divided by 2/3 equals 6. Go ahead and take your picture. Drop that into GoodNotes. Okay, now let's try the same thing using an equation. So write 4 divided by 2/3. Okay, we're going to write that whole number 4 as 4 over 1. Next step, multiply by the second number's reciprocal. So 4 over 1 times 3 over 2. Hopefully you can see there's some things you can cancel here. 4 and 2 are both divisible by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. So we get a quotient of 6 over 1. Again, we're going to simplify that to 6 because 6 divided by 1 equals 6. Again, you can see we get the same quotient no matter what method we choose. So we can say that a total of 6 lots can be created. Okay, so that concludes our notes on dividing whole numbers by fractions. Make sure you do the note check before moving on.